Hello and welcome to the video Square Roots. In this video we will find the exact decimal of square roots. Below are the procedures listed. We will illustrate them step by step as we solve our example problems. So let's get started. Let's say we want to find the exact decimal of the square root of 40. Well, the first step says to subtract the largest perfect square that can be taken from the number under the square root symbol. So, how do I find the largest perfect square? Well, I count by powers. So, 1 squared, then 2 squared, 3 squared, 4 squared, 5 squared, 6 squared. Now, I found out what kind of square these numbers will make. 1 times 1 is 1, 2 times 2 is 4, and 3 times 3 is 9, and 4 times 4 is 16, and 5 times 5 is 25, and 6 times 6 is 36. Now 7 squared, which is 7 times 7, is 49. So when I look at all my perfect squares, I see that 36 is the largest one that can fit into 40. So that's the one I'm going to choose. So my 6 will go up here, and I will subtract the perfect square. So that leaves me with a remainder of 4. Now the next step says I need to drop the next two numbers of my dividend. So when I look, my decimal is here. Remember, when I don't see my decimal, it's behind the last digit. And the next two digits are zeros. So I'll drop them down. That turns this 4 into a 400. Step 3 says I need to double the chosen number, the number I chose, and write it at the side to become your new divisor, next to a space for a mysterious digit. So if I chose 6, I have to double it. 6 plus 6, and that gives me 12, next to my mysterious digit. Now I have to choose a number for step number 4 from 0 through 9 for the mysterious digit and multiply by that same digit. So what that means is in this blank spot I will put a number from 0 to 9. So I'm trying to see how many times 120 something goes into 400. The way I like to estimate it is sometimes I'll take the first two digits of my divisor, which is 12, and try to see how many times it go into the first two digits of my dividend. I know 12 goes into 40 3 times because 12 times 3 is 36. So I'll start. So 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times. So this is the largest or the most times that 120 something can go into 400. So I'm using 3. So I'll subtract 369. So that'll be 1 and 3. So that'll be a remainder of 31. Now, step number 5 says repeat the steps 2 through 4 to get the next number. So let's restart. Step 2 says drop the next two numbers of my dividend. The next two numbers are zeros. So I'm going to drop those down, turning that 31 into 3,100. Step number 3 says I need to double the chosen number and write it next to the space for a mysterious digit. So the number that I chose was 3. So I have to add 3. So that makes 126 with a mysterious digit. Now I start the process over again. Well, I'm going to use the first two numbers again. So 12. And 12 goes into 31 approximately 2 times. So I'm going to try 2. So 1,262, and if I choose to, I multiply by what? That's correct, the same number, or 2. So 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 6 is 12, carry the 1, 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5, and 2 times 1 is 2. Now, if you're curious if you could fit one more number in there, let's see. So I pick 3, and if I pick 3, I have to multiply by 3. And that'll give me 9, 18, carry the 1, 7, and 3. So I'm over. So the correct choice was 2. So let's pick 2 here. I'll change the color. There. And now I have to subtract 2,524. That'll be 6, 7, 5. So we can stop at the hundredths place. So our exact decimal up to the hundredths place is 6 and 32 hundredths. Now, if we look at our calculator, let's see how we did. So we had 40, take the square root of that, 6.32. So there we have it. Let's try to find the square root of 24. So step number 1, we need to find the largest perfect square. So what perfect square do you think can fit into 24? Well, 3 squared is 9, and 4 squared is 16, and 5 squared is 25. Now 25 is too large, so the biggest perfect square we can fit is 4 squared. So we'll put the 4 up here, and we'll subtract the 16, our perfect square. And that will leave us with 8. So the next step is to drop the next 2 digits of our dividend. So remember, our decimal's here, and the next 2 digits in this case are 2 zeros. So we'll drop that, turning this 8 into an 800. Step number 3 says I need to double the chosen number and write it next to a mysterious digit. So 4 doubled, 4 plus 4 gives me 8 something. So I need to figure out how many times 80 something, goes to 800. Well, I'm going to use this 8, and 8 goes into 80 10 times. So I'm going to go down because I want my number to be a little less than 800. So let's try 8 times 89. So I'll say 89 times 9. So this will be 81, and 9 times 8 is 72, plus 8 is 80. So still just a bit too large. So it must be 8. So if I choose 8, I need to multiply by 8. 8 times 8 is 64. And 8 times 8 is 64 plus 6 is 70. So my next digit is 8. And now put the 8 here and subtract 704. This will give me 96. So now I have to repeat the process for steps 2 through 4. So I'm going to drop 2 zeros, turn that 96 into 9,600, and now I need to double my chosen digit and write it next to a mysterious digit. So I chose 8, so I need to add 8 to my number. So 8 plus 8 is 16, and the 1 carries over. So 1 plus 8 is 9. So that'd be 96 or 960 something goes into 9,600. Well, I know I would like to use 10 because 96 goes into 960 10 times. So I know it'll be less than that. So we'll use 9, and then we'll try 8 if that doesn't work. So if I choose 9, I have to multiply by what? That's correct, 9. So 9 times 9 is 81. 9 times 6 is 54. Plus 8, 62. And 9 times 9 is 81. Plus 6 is 87. So that works. So the next digit is 9. And I'll subtract 8,721. Leave me with 879. So my exact decimal is 4 and 89 hundredths. So let's see how we did. This 24, let's take the square root of that number. We get 4.89. So we are correct. All right. For our last example, let's find the exact decimal of 74. So our first step is to subtract the perfect square. Well, let's see. 8 squared is 64, and 9 squared is 81. So the largest square that we can fit inside of a 74 is 64. So we'll choose 8. So let's subtract this perfect square, and that leaves us with 10. Now we need to drop the next two digits of our dividend. So remember, if we don't see a decimal, it's always hiding behind the last digit. And our next two numbers are zeros. So we're going to drop these down, turn this 10 into 1,000. Now, we need to double the chosen number and write it next to a mysterious digit. So 8 plus 8 is 16. Something. Now, what number should we choose for our mysterious digit from 0 to 9? Well, let's try 5. So 165, and if I choose 5, I have to multiply by 5. 5 times 5 is 25. 5 times 6 is 30, plus 2 is 32. And 5 times 1 is 5, plus 3 is 8. Well, let's try one more. 166 times 6. So that's 36, 39, and 9. So this is the closest we're getting to 1,000. So the next digit is 6. So we're minus 996, and that leaves us with a remainder of 4. So now we need to repeat the process. So we're going to drop the next two digits, and that turns this 4 into a 400. And we need to double our chosen digit and write it next to a mysterious digit. So we're going to add 6 to our number. 6 plus 6 is 12. Carry the 1. 6 plus 1 is 7. And bring down the 1. So this will be 1,720 something. We're going to 400. The smallest number we can pick from is 0. So 1,720 goes into 400 0 times. So our next digit is 0. Now, we reached the hundredths place, so we can stop there, and our answer will be 860 hundredths. But if you're very curious like I am, what is the next digit? Let's repeat the process one more time. So we have to drop the next two digits, turn this 400 into 40,000. And now we have to double our chosen digit. 0 plus 0 is still 0. So now this will be 1720 something going into 40,000. Let's estimate. 17 goes into 40 at most 2 times. So let's try that one. 1720, and we're going to choose 2. So we have to multiply by 2. And that's 4, 0, 4, 14, 2, and 3. Well, that's the closest we're going to get to it. So our next digit is 2. So that's our next digit, and you can subtract the 34,404. So that'll be 3, 9, 9, 9, 10, 6, 9, 5, 5. Remainder 5,596. So now our answer to the nearest thousandths is 8 and 602 thousandths. So let's see our calculator, see how we did. So 74, take the square root, 8.602. There we go, our exact decimal. Well, that concludes our video of square roots and how to find the exact decimal. Thanks for watching, and as always, math is making amazing thoughts happen.